One of the biggest reasons that people die in blizzards is that they push on, try and battle the elements, when actually they should just stop. If you've got high winds, difficult terrain and zero visibility, if you push on, it's futile. It's like being on a treadmill. It's going to beat you and you're going to die. Your number one priority is protection. And in this case, it's protection from the wind and from the cold. Okay, fire it up, guys. Okay, let's go. Gotta try and cover up best you can any exposed skin. Let's get into this.
As the wind chill kicks in, the temperature dives. In winds this high, frostbite can set in minutes. And there's no natural shelter here. My only option is to dig.
This is gonna be a good place to dig a snow hole. Want a lee slope with a big build-up of powder snow from the wind. Also, if you dig it into a slope, when you're shoveling, gravity's gonna take the snow down away from you. Let gravity do the work.
It's best to dig horizontally into the snow face. Dig downwards and you create a well, and all the cold air will sink on top of you.
Okay, already just digging in, like 1 or 2 feet. I've got a little bit of shelter from the wind. If you look at the difference between the wind up here, reading 45 miles an hour, to down here, where it's reading about 5 miles an hour. That's a huge difference in wind speeds, and wind speeds correlates to wind chill. Up here you can have -40. In here it's going to be way, way warmer. Let's keep digging.
With time running against you, it's vital that you dig a very basic snow hole. Make it just big enough to squeeze your body into. Once you're in, pull any loose blocks of snow around the opening to help keep out the freezing cold wind.
Okay, well I'm out of almost all of the wind in here. It's a huge difference. And all it is a little bolt hole, little escape chamber that in this sort of wind could save your life. Hey! There's a fishing trawler about a mile away. Hey! Too far to see us. We need to make our way to that ice floe. Bigger one. Try and make a bit of a signal fire there and get spotted like that. Let's go for this. My plan, get to the iceberg quickly and signal from there. It's about the biggest one around here. Okay, you ready to jump for this? I'm going to jump onto the berg and hope that the ice doesn't give way. But as I leap off, the raft is unbalanced and my crew plunge into the icy waters. I got you. Come on. That's it. We need to work fast. He's going to spot us. In situations like this, the boat could be out of range in minutes. So any signal fire needs to be a quick build. Let's build this baby up. My emergency fire-making materials are quick to ignite, but there's not nearly enough smoke from my signal fire. It's giving off some smoke, but it's only white smoke. It's never going to show against all this ice. Probably the easiest thing I can do is use just some rubber off the bottom of my boot. Burning rubber produces thick black smoke, which will show up clearly against the white of the ice. See if they can see this. Hey! With black smoke and my bright red jacket, I've given myself the best chance of being seen. Hold your arms up in a big Y shape. It's the international distress sign for yes, I need help. Hey! Help! The trawler has slowed and is altering course. And there can be no better sight in the world for the survivor than seeing their rescue ship turn towards them. The boat is coming to get me. You won't want to hang around in these icy waters, so this is going to be a one-shot deal. Man, that's coming fast and straight towards us. We need to move and make this. The boat is going to come alongside the iceberg, and I'm going to make a leap for it. I've got to be 100% confident in making this jump. Do not want to end up crushed between this and the ice. But she's coming in too hot and too close. And at the last moment, it crashes into the ice. A close shave, but I've made it. And I've been into a frozen lake before, but I've never been under the ice, and I've never done it when the outside temperature is about -20. And if I'm honest, I'm a little bit scared of this. Instantly, my pulse is up around the 200 mark. It feels as though the air has been sucked out of me. But I've got to keep calm. Hyperventilate in this, and you'll drown. Woo! Okay, first thing I've got to do before I try and swim under this is control my breathing. If I try and go now with a pulse rate as fast as mine is, I'll never be able to control it. So give me 5 seconds. Blood is rushing to protect my core. My heart's working flat out. There's a serious risk in here of cardiac arrest. Okay, here we go. Once in, there's no turning back, and I've got to keep going, trying to reach the light of the thinner ice. But the cold is literally squeezing the air out of me. I'm at my very limit now. But once through the ice, you're still not out of trouble. My eyes. Feels like they're gone like frozen solid. Okay, but I need to get out of here now. And I need to do this first time. And I can feel the danger of why this water is so lethal, is that it really numbs your senses, your fingers and your head. I can hardly see when I open my eyes when I came out of that. I can feel my muscles begin to shake. It's time to be getting back to that fire. Underneath there is a truly horrible place to be. One of my really good friends who's in the military showed me this trick of getting his hands warm. And you wave your arms madly like that and it drives the blood into the fingers, and amazingly it works. We used to call him Chicken, so he looked like one doing this. Woo! The tinder I packed in my bag looks like it stayed dry. But until that flame goes, you never know. Let's get a layer on. But this is why being prepared is so important. You know, it just allowed me to have this fire lit literally within a minute and a half of being out of that water. And that's why I'm able to do this. Okay. Ah, man, that is nice. Woo! Good job, guys. Gotta cross it. Sometimes my boys watch these sort of programs and they go, was it really that cold? When you can show them a shoelace out horizontal, then you know it's cold. This ancient terrain was carved by huge glaciers as they retreated to the coast, leaving behind gullies and ice caves. They can often be a shortcut through the rock face. Watch out, look, the holes everywhere here. Leave these here. Okay, just watch yourself in this. This should lead us through and down. You need to really use the ice just as handholds here. I'm using the antler I took from the dead reindeer to grip the ice. Look, you see all the way, all that fluting all the way up. That's what we don't want coming down on top of us. Yeah, you want to get through these sort of things as quickly as you can and out. The bit that I'm worried about is down there. See all the little ice cubes are disappearing. That's going to be just going into one of these subglacial tunnels of running water. You go down one of those, you will never come out. But there's no way around that ice chasm. I've got to climb over it. I'm nervous, and this is going to take all my strength. And that's the shaft I don't want to be going down. And you can just see how slippery this blue ice is. It's just going to run across it. I need to use this sort of hold and try and swing my leg up to there. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And that is what I've got to crawl out of. But that looks very, very tight. I'm going to try and squeeze my way up, but I've no way of knowing if I can get through that tiny gap and escape this ice dungeon. Okay. There's about 1 inch. There's about 1 inch of headroom here. I'm right under the main weight of this now. Okay, it's got to wriggle out. Whoa. Okay. The weather is closing in now, and it looks like there's a snowstorm on its way. I must find shelter, and soon. Okay, what I'm going to try and do here is make a snow cave into this slope, and this is a pretty good place to try and do this. It's on a lee-facing slope, which means it's out of the wind. It should be a little bit more sheltered, but also it's much easier digging into a slope than trying to dig into the flat. My big challenge is, though, I obviously haven't got a shovel, which would make digging this much easier, but what I can do is try and pull out from inside the parachute, the back protector, which is like a little strip of plastic. Here we go. That's, you know, it's not great, but it's certainly better than nothing, and this should be much easier to dig in than using my hands. When the sun drops, there's a real risk of hypothermia, and the worst thing you can do is to keep walking and sweat. When that sweat evaporates, your body will cool to a dangerously low temperature. Right now I've dug actually into this bank a bit. I'm now going to try and create like a bit of a platform here and get rid of the snow, and this is going to be like a bed platform, and the idea of this is that the cold air will then sink into what I'm sitting in, which is called like a cold well, and I'll be able to create under here a nice sleeping platform, insulate some warm air, and wrapped up in my canopy. That should keep me nice and snug, and that's the theory of it. But they always say try and make a snow cave about 3 times the size of your body. Not too big, otherwise you're going to be wasting any heat you can generate. Any smaller, and what happens as the snow compacts, it actually shrinks. So you'll end up then
in a much worse situation, buried alive. So you want it about 3 times your own body size. And the last thing I'm going to do is just try and smooth off the roof. And what happens if you don't do this, as your body creates heat, the little pinnacles will start to drip on you. And the last thing you want when you're just getting warm is to have a leaking roof.
4 snowboarders were trapped on the mountain not far from here in a snowstorm 3 years ago. They built a makeshift shelter like this and survived for 4 days before being rescued. I'm going to use my parachute to lie on. You lose 75% of your body heat through the ground. Use anything you have for this, a backpack or any spare clothing you might have. The other vital thing is water. I'm going to dehydrate faster here because the air is so dry. I have to try and drink at least 2 litres a day. If you can, you should always boil it, but I haven't got a fire, so I'm going to scoop some snow into my water bottle, then I can put it against my skin so it melts while I sleep.
It's about 2 a.m. and I managed to doze off at about 9, but woke up an hour later absolutely freezing cold, and part of this roof is beginning to sag now and I haven't quite got this right, and I'm just desperately trying to keep my fingers and toes moving, and this is going to be one of those really long nights.
In the morning, there's almost an extra foot of snow.
That's the worst night's sleep I've ever had. In fact, it wasn't even sleep. That's just the worst night I've ever had.